What's up guys, I'm Matt from Running Warehouse, and today we're going to be taking a look at the all-new HOKA Rincon 3. Now, I loved the Rincon ever since it came out with their first version a few years ago. It's a lightweight, versatile daily trainer that you can use for faster runs, longer runs, and anything really in between. It's got a lot of nice cushion to it, and it has a super lightweight feel that's fun to run in, and just an overall great shoe to have in your lineup. And when I first got the new Rincon 3, I was blown away by some of the colorways that they came out with. This gray and green is one of the more subtle options, but the aesthetic that HOKA is going for with this Rincon is awesome. They really dialed in those oranges and yellows and greens and grays in a cool way that runners are really gonna love. So when we take a look at this shoe even closer, I wanna start with the upper and that new look that it has. In previous versions, we had a more mono mesh upper that was super lightweight, and then it changed the upper to a more mesh upper and it gained a little bit of weight, but now we're back to a more simple mesh upper with some slits in the lining to give you a more breathable feel and a more comfortable overall experience. The lacing system is a little bit tricky to start because of the tongue. I think the tongue is cut a little short and it's a little thin, so the tongue would fall down a little bit on some of my runs, and the lacing system would be a little bit higher than the tongue, which caused for an inconsistent fit. But once you kind of figure that out and dial that in a little bit, it's a great overall ride, and lockdown is really not a problem with this shoe. They still have that pull tab in the back, and instead of that band, they now have a string or a little lace on the back. It just cuts a little bit of weight, and it still looks super nice. It blends with the whole aesthetic of the shoe overall very nicely. When we take a look at the midsole, this is where the Rincon really thrives because it's so lightweight and because it has that same cushioning that you almost find in Clifton, which is its beefier older brother. HOKA kind of changed up the midsole a little bit more with this version of the Rincon. It's gonna be a little bit softer and there's a little bit of tweaks to it. Overall, it's not a big update, but they wanna add more durability to the Rincon overall. For the past few versions, that's been one of the knocks with the Rincon is it kind of dies once you get to 100, 200 miles. I know with my first version a few years ago, I took it to about 150 and started to feel like the foam died a little bit around 100 miles. I was running some faster paces, but I would also take it for some longer runs, and that foam just fell flat after a month or so. I've been running in this one for about a month or two now, and it still feels very soft, and it still feels like it has that nice impact absorption. So hopefully that small tweak that HOKA made will make the Rincon a little bit more versatile than it has been in the past. And speaking of that versatility, we can take a look at the bottom of the midsole with the new rubber outsole that they have. So it's gonna be a little bit more durable here because they've added a little bit more rubber to the shoe. It didn't add a whole lot of weight, but it's gonna increase the durability just a tad and make this shoe a little bit more versatile where you can push it for a few more miles or push those tempos a little bit longer. There is a different cutout in the midsole as well. Instead of that more diamond trapezoid shape, it's more of a rectangular shape. It's just a different cutout. It still saves that weight of the midsole. But I did feel like it changed the initial step in when I first got it. I felt like the heel was a little bit softer on the Rincon, and I don't know if that's because of this different shaped cutout or because the foam is just dialed in a little bit more and it's a little bit softer. But hopefully as I progress taking this shoe, it's gonna feel more versatile and it's gonna feel more durable as I take it longer and for more mileage. So along with that more dialed in midsole, HOKA is also gonna have their classic Meta Rocker technology where it's gonna create a more efficient ride and a more natural feel as you're striding through your runs. I loved using the new Rincon 3. It's probably been my favorite Rincon so far, not only because I think it looks the coolest and has the best new colorways, but also because I think that foam works way better than it has in the past, where this shoe is super versatile. So you can take it for your longer efforts and you can take it for your faster runs, and it's kind of able to do everything. And because that foam holds up a little bit more, you can take it for more long runs and you can take it for longer workouts. But I ultimately liked pairing this shoe with a more cushioned model. If you're able to have two different shoes, I really enjoyed pairing it with a shoe like the Bondi that you could use for your longer mileage or your slower paced runs. And you could take out the Rincon when you needed a faster run or you needed a more fun, peppy run where you needed to pick up the pace, run a little bit more up tempo, and maybe weren't going as long. Ultimately, if you're still looking for that shoe to use for every run throughout the week, the Rincon 3 will be that shoe because it's lightweight and because it still has that foam, that HOKA EVA foam that people have loved for countless years now. Overall, the HOKA Rincon 3 is one of my favorite shoes in my lineup now, and I think a way that HOKA can upgrade this shoe a little bit more would be if they added a little bit of a more peppy foam or something a little bit bouncier to it to make it faster and to make it a little bit more fun to run in. I think it would also add a little bit more to the durability and cause this shoe to fall flat less and make it a little bit more useful for those faster runs or that up-tempo training, those more fun efforts that you want to take the Rincon for. To wrap things up, the HOKA Rincon 3 looks great, it feels softer, and you can find this shoe at runningwarehouse.com.